Hi, this is Emerald and welcome to the Diamond Net, and today I'm going to be giving a book review, and this is going to be done a little bit differently. I'm reading The Book of Not Knowing by Peter Ralston, and it's about a 600-page book, so today I'm going to review the first 3 parts of the book, and the remaining 2 parts I will review 2 weeks from now in my next book review video, but that's coming up in this video. Alright, so as I said before, I'm going to be reviewing the first 3 parts of the Book of Not Knowing. The first part is all about questioning the obvious. Alright, so what that's meant is that you have to take all of your beliefs and assumptions and really look at those under a microscope. Because as we come into life and we begin to learn things about our culture, about the world, about science, about different things like religion, we have all of these different beliefs and assumptions that we take for granted as true. However, in this book it says that we need to look at those things and realize that 99% of what we think is true is a belief based on secondhand experience. And so I just think that that's really, really great advice. Alright, the second part of the book has to do with our experience of ourself. And in this, Ralston goes into the idea of how we have conceptual dominance. So if we see something, our mind immediately puts a label on top of it and a concept on top of it, so that we're never really experiencing the actual thing itself in our experience, but we are experiencing our associations with it and our ideas about it. The third part of the book is titled In Search of Real Being, and what this is about taking that conceptual dominance that he talked about in the second part of the book and being able to bypass to really experience the actual thing that you're perceiving and not your concepts and associations in relation to it. Alright, and the other 2 sections of the book we'll discuss 2 weeks from now in my next video. But basically this book is geared toward being able to understand the truth of your existence here as a person. So this is a very, very deep topic that he's going into, and he goes into it in a very, very simple kind of way. Peter Ralston is actually enlightened, and he's a martial arts expert too, and his enlightenment actually helped him to become better with martial arts because he was able to get a real sense of what the essence of that was. So this is all about tossing away concepts and beliefs, at least momentarily, so that we can get a real experience of being. Now, the main driving idea behind the book is that in order to do that, we have to get into a state of genuine not knowing. In our culture, we have this idea that in order to be an intelligent person or to be wise, that we have to know things. But it's actually quite counterintuitive, because in order to actually be wise and be receptive to wisdom, we have to be able to empty our cup. We have to be able to be in a state of genuine not knowing. So earlier on in the book, Ralston gave a really great example of how we take a lot of things for granted, and we think we know so much when really all the things that we think we know are really concepts and beliefs based on secondhand information. And so one really profound example that he gave was that we don't really have a real experience of the world being round. We've read about it in books. We might have seen pictures of the world being round, but we don't even really know that we live on that thing. We sort of take for granted that the world is definitely round, even though we haven't experienced it for ourselves. So you see that kind of taking things on faith, and faith is just an important part of being able to navigate our way around in the world, because we can't possibly know most of the things that we think we know, just because they're not available for us to experience in our reality. So he's not saying that we shouldn't believe that the world is round. In fact, I would be willing to bet you $2 billion that it is round. I'm not trying to make that argument. What the idea is that we need to get a real sense of what our beliefs are and what's actually real in the present moment for us. And what we find is that if we get past the conceptual dominance and if we get past all of our ideas and beliefs about the world, that we can actually experience the truth of who we are. And the truth of who we are has a lot to do with oneness, which is something that I talk about a lot in my videos. And it's all about being able to apply processes to get yourself to a more enlightened state where you're actually more in tune with the truth of your own being. Now, peppered throughout the book, Ralston has many different meditation practices and contemplation practices that you can use to actually guide yourself through getting a real experience in the present moment of what's going on for you and being actually aware of what you are doing and what you are being, as opposed to what you think of yourself or what you think might be going on. And what's going on is a lot more simple, but also at the same time a lot more complex. And I won't go too much into that, but it's a really, really great practical book. I'm really enjoying it so far. The first 3 parts have been really, really illuminating for me. I'm sure that the last 2 parts will be equally illuminating, and we'll go over that in a couple weeks. Alright, so far with the Book of Not Knowing, I would give it a 5 out of 5, but I will go ahead and do the rating for the Book of Not Knowing in my next video. So that's all I have for you today. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and click the subscribe button below and give it a big thumbs up. Also, post me any questions or comments below. I do a Q&A segment every other Wednesday, and so for a chance to have your question answered on my Q&A segment, just go ahead and write me a question. Other than that, that's all I have for you, and until next time, keep becoming more you.